Hey folks, welcome back to My Kitten Reads. I'm Eleanor and this is my June 2022 wrap up. I read 9 books in June, which is not quite the 10 a month, but it was close. And it was a reasonably enjoyable reading month. I did a little bit of rereading. I did a lot of mystery reading. And I finally started doing my Hugo reading when I realised that I hadn't actually signed up to be a member of Worldcon this year and therefore I hadn't got the voters packet. So I finally did actually start my Hugo reading, having signed up properly. Yay! So what did I read? The first thing I finished in June, I finished rereading The Disappearance of Amber Crow by Amberlyn Cormelliner. This is the second book in her series The Tribe, which Amberlyn is you've heard me mention her before. She's an Indigenous Australian author from WA. And this is her sort of post-apocalyptic sci-fi-ish series for teenagers, so YA series. I've been rereading it at the gym a bit this year and really enjoying rereading it because I love this series. But I hadn't actually sat around and rereading it. So this is the second book, the middle book, in which the character of Amber has disappeared. And Ashayla goes looking for her and finds out a whole bunch of stuff about Amber's past and who Amber is. And yeah, it's a really, really good book. So I really enjoyed that. Then I also reread Death in Dalesford by Kerry Greenwood, which is the most recent of the Miss Fisher novels. It came out, I want to say 2020 or maybe 2021. So it definitely feels like a more recent book because in particular there's one particular, it's just like a throwaway kind of comment early on in the book about Dalesford as an area, but it makes a comment about the Indigenous folks of the area, which is definitely a more modern understanding of what country means to Indigenous people. So yeah, so that was fun. I always love reading a Miss Fisher. Then I hit my Hugo reading. I read a short story which was called Mr. Death by Alex E Harrow. There's a bit of Alex E Harrow on this year's shortlist. This was a short story about a man who was working for death after he had died, until he has to shepherd on a young soul that reminds him of his own son, and things go a little bit haywire. So yeah, so that was interesting. I didn't connect to the character hugely. Short stories are always like they have to grab you immediately or they don't grab you at all. So the second thing I read was also a short story for the Hugos, and that was Tangles by Shauna Maguire. This, I didn't know it until I looked it up just now. This is apparently part of a Magic the Gathering universe, which I know nothing about. But to me, it read as a bit of a magical interdimensional dryad story in that the character used trees to walk through the worlds. And she has just brought her current tree home because that was the agreement that they had when they were ready to finish. She would bring the tree home, and she's looking for her next tree and accidentally gets caught in someone else's spell, and there's a bit of like metaphysical discussion and realizations going on. So yeah, it was enjoyable, like most of Shauna Maguire's work is for me. But again, it didn't really stick with me. Then I continued on reading the Agatha Christie's that I picked up back in May when I was reading Agatha Christie for uni and decided to go on a complete binge and read the stuff that was on my TBR shelf and then go out and buy more. Most of these are rereads because they are Poirot's. Some of them I did not remember at all because apparently a lot of the Poirot's I have forgotten completely, even though I know I ticked them all off. So I read one that I completely forgot everything about, 1, 2, Buckle My Shoe, which essentially Poirot's dentist gets murdered just after he's had an appointment. So, and of course it interests Poirot because it's his dentist and it's a bit weird. So, yeah, so that was that one. Then there was Poirot Investigates. So, yeah, Poirot Investigates is a bunch of short stories, Poirot stories. There's one involving a kidnapped prime minister, a missing will. There's 11 of them, so they're just really short little stories. So yay. Then I read, and I can't actually remember what I've done with the book, so it's around here somewhere, but I couldn't be bothered trying to dig it out. Appointment with Death, which is one that I do remember because I really like the ITV adaptation, because it's got Mark Gatiss in it, which is entertaining. So that one I did remember quite well, and it's not too different. It's a little bit different, but not too different. So that was, I at least vaguely knew what was going on. So that was fun. And then I took a break slightly. Well, more, I did some workouts at the gym, so I had more hero reading to do, and so I read A Spindle Splintered, again by Alex E Harrow. This is, I believe, from the novella category. And this was interesting. I actually ended up really enjoying it, despite the fact that I was very close to stopping reading it, like partway through, because it was making me feel quite awkward. But in this, there is a girl who was born knowing that she had a limited amount of time because she was the victim of a chemical spill, industrial accident thing. There's a group of them, and they were all born with this genetic problem thanks to this industrial accident or whatever, exposure. And so she's grown up knowing that, and she fell in love with the Sleeping Beauty story, and knows all the different versions, and ended up getting a degree in mythology. Anyway, she hits her 21st birthday, which everyone's vaguely surprised that she managed to hit. Her friend throws her a Sleeping Beauty themed birthday party, and then she pricks her finger on a spinning wheel and accidentally gets tossed into a different universe's version of Sleeping Beauty, having prevented Sleeping Beauty herself from this particular version, Primrose, from succumbing to the curse. But the curse is still active, and so they go on a journey, and they find out that there is something more sympathetic than they thought in terms of why the curse was laid. And then they end up calling upon a whole bunch of other interdimensional Sleeping Beauties to rescue this Sleeping Beauty and try and find a way home, and try and, make sure that their stories don't end the way that it was planned. So in the end, I really, really enjoyed it. So it was quite a good one. There were some lesbian characters, which was kind of cool. Yeah, it was a good one. So I really quite enjoyed that. And then my last book for June was another Agatha Christie, another Poirot, The Mystery of the Blue Train, which is also one I am very fond of from the ITV adaptations with David Suchet. This one was somewhat different in that a lot of the more salacious elements in the adaptation aren't actually in this. So, but but it's not so different in that it's still the same people that are responsible for the murder in question. So, yeah, that was what I finished up with for June. So I'm reasonably happy with my month's reading. I enjoyed pretty much all of it. Yeah, as usual, if you've read any of these books, happy to discuss in the comments down below. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you all again really soon. Bye.